Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we are very pleased you have joined us for our Metals and Mining Conference. Our next live presentation is from Viva Gold. Viva Gold is a Canada-based gold exploration and development company focused on acquiring and developing precious metal properties. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for a one-on-one meeting by clicking Book Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Jim Hesketh, Chief Executive Officer and Director of Viva Gold, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol VAUCF and on the TSXV under the symbol VAU. Welcome back, Jim.
Well, thank you. Pleasure being here. Today we're going to talk about Viva Gold. And our primary focus is advancing our Tonopah Gold Project located in Tonopah, Nevada. We believe that property has the potential to become a mine. And we're in the heart of mining country. It's a project that you actually can permit. So let's talk about that. First off, cautionary notes, technical disclosure. You can find this on our website if you want to read it in more detail. Our road to success is pretty simple. We've been defining a resource in very mining-friendly Nevada. It's a near-surface high-grade project. There's numerous zones of high grade in it that drive the project economics and reduce capital risk. We've got proven metallurgical and technical aspects to the project. We'll talk about that in greater detail. Excellent infrastructure, and we've completed quite a number of our required baseline and environmental studies in preparation for taking this project into permitting. We've got a great leadership team and board, very experienced at permitting and building mines. Our near-term catalysts, we're currently building our resource estimate up. We've drilled some 64 additional drill holes since our last resource estimate in early 2022. We're going to be using that to update a preliminary economic analysis. And, that case will include two trade-offs. One is a pure heap leach, and then the other is a heap leach mill concept. And I'll explain that in a few minutes. And we're continuing to progress our baseline environmental studies as a foundation for mine permitting efforts. So very quickly, capital structure of this company, we do have major shareholders. Dundee Corporation owns just under 20%. Rad Capital in the UK, 16.5%. Pointillist in Texas, they have 8.7%. And then Dan Oliver's Myrmikan Capital has 9.5%. So we've got a very strong institutional shareholding in this company, and that provides welcome support in these times of difficult financings. The team, Chris Harold, our director, very savvy geologist. He runs Solitario Resources. Many of you probably know Chris. For full disclosure, I serve on the board of Solitario as well. Myself, by background, I'm a mining engineer and mineral economist by training, not a geologist. My specialty has always been building mines, and I've built about 8 in my career, both domestic and international. And I've got both a large company and small company background, as well as mining finance with NM Rothschild and Sons, the London Bullion Bank. Andy Boland, he was formerly Director of Operations for Barrick Gold. Excellent director and really experienced metallurgist and project manager. David Whittle, very strong small company CFO and CEO background. Ted Mahoney, he's a formerly chief geologist at Kinross's Round Mountain mine, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It's very close to our site. And he was former business development manager for Barrick North America. And then Adrian Goldstone, he's technical director for Dundee, our largest shareholder. But Adrian and I had worked together on a project in Russia back in the 1990s. So this is a team that I know well and very experienced and very professional, technically focused. So our project location, Tonopah Gold Project's the Blue Star, and we're just a half-hour's drive south of Kinross's Round Mountain mine, and that's just north of Centerra's Goldfield District and AngloGold's projects down near Beatty, Nevada. So Round Mountain, they've mined about 15 million ounces over the project life. And right now they're going underground, putting in a decline, doing a lot of drilling. And their goal is to continue to feed an 11,000 ton a day mill at that site. That's a potential opportunity for us in that we've got a lot of high-grade material in our deposit that could potentially be mill feed if they run short on this transition. Just south of us, Centerra Gold acquired the Goldfield District in 2022. They paid about $177 per ounce for a fully permitted project. And then just south of that, Anglo in 2021 and 22 acquired Corp's assets and acquired Corvus Gold. They paid $165 an ounce and $170 an ounce for those projects. So that gives you some good comps on what a fully permitted project in this part of Nevada goes for. And then just south of that, Augusta Gold acquired the Reward Gold project, fully permitted. That's a small project, about 320,000 ounces of reserve. It's a project that myself and my team, we put the permits on that project back in the about 2011-12, and sold that project in 2014 to Waterton Global, who then sold it to Augusta. But that gives you a comp on the small end of the scale. So our resource on this project, in January of 2022, we declared a resource of about 600,000 ounces, with 2/3 of that being measured and indicated. Since then, we've drilled about 64 additional drill holes. So we should see some growth in that, as well as conversion of inferred material to measured and indicated. Now, going to the geology on this project, very quickly, the deposit is subhorizontal. It's fairly flat laying. It comes in the center block, it comes to within 10 meters, about 60 feet, about 30 feet from the surface. And we come in, and there's a series of very high-grade cores to this deposit. Those are on north-south structures within an east-west trending deposit. And what you're looking at is the east-west long section. And the geology here, the purple is an Ordovician age argillite. That's a 300 million year old rock, 300 to 400 million year old. And the TVL, the blue, is about an 18 million year old rock. So the mineralization in this deposit really follows that contact between those two rock types. And that's been our targeting strategy here. We do have some feeder systems on this deposit, but those are expensive and difficult targets. Our main focus has been outlining and drilling the blanket-like mineralization. So here's a cross-section through the discovery zone, and there's quite a few intercepts. These are blocks that you're looking at, 6-meter blocks, 6-meter cubes. And this is from the block model itself. We get great continuity in this deposit. And as you can see, this particular section is the shallow section. This is where we would start mining. And we have some of our highest grades actually closest to surface. That's an ideal configuration for mining. Then this last year we drilled about 24 holes in 2024. And what you're looking at is the highlights of our last 14 holes. And we have a number of zones of multiple intercepts. That's what you see on this deposit, is a lot of intercepts as you drill to depth, both high-grade and low-grade mineralization. Some of the highlights here, we've got 30 meters at 2.3 grams, starting at 23 meters deep. And that is followed with quite a bit of additional mineralization as we go up to 100 meters deep. Now, you know, that's only 300 feet. So this is a fairly shallow pit zone. And what we've been doing, we've been expanding this eastern end of the deposit. This whole red zone that you see here, that's 1 gram plus. That's all been added in the last 2 years. We've been doing additional drilling at depth to the north, and throughout this deposit, throughout the mine life, we'll be able to produce both high and low grades, and that's potential of blended grades throughout the mine life, consistency in the metallurgy. And we also have exploration upside. In this program, we drilled a hole TG2417. That was a 600-meter step out to the south. And we hit, in that hole, we intercepted a 0.5 gram gold with 3.4 grams of silver. But that was a pure step out. We intercepted what's probably the tail end of this discovery fault. It's probably moving over a little. But that we intercepted that mineralization quite shallow, within 30 meters of surface. So there's potential there. And then we have another zone, 1.4 kilometers, but over a half mile away to the west, called the Midway Hills. That was first drilled in the 1980s by Rio Algam. So we've got quite a number of intercepts over there that weren't really followed up on. And we've been seeing that the deposit is definitely structurally controlled. We're showing some of the faults in the picture here. And so you have structure and lithology, and those are our targets. We see a lot of upside yet to come for this project. One of the benefits of being a fourth owner on a project is that we've got a lot of metallurgical test work behind us. It was done by Kennecott Minerals, Newmont Gold, Midway Gold, and ourselves. The mineralization on this deposit is basically very oxidized, microfine and coarse-free gold. The coarse material occurs in veins and breccias. And then we have the lithology-hosted low-grade zones. That's disseminated gold mineralization. We do know that gravity, flotation, and cyanide leach methods all work for gold recovery on this project. Under straight heap leach conditions, we can get 68 to 71% recovery on three-stage crushed rock. Now, if we take our high-grade material, that's above 1 gram, and grind it to 75 microns and leach it in a vat leach, we get 92 to 94% gold recovery. What this means is that we've got optionality in our process route, and we can increase gold recovery for the deposit as a whole, and this is totally dependent on the availability of capital as we move into project development. And there's nothing to say that we can't add a circuit later in the mine life. We also have, in total, if we look at the 1 gram cutoff, about 20% of the tons in the resource are above 1 gram, but they carry 50% of the gold. That is our potential mill feed. And we have the potential to provide high-grade mill feed to 2 local mills, all within a 30-mile radius. And alternatively, an on-site mill circuit and 3-stage crush, but that would increase gold recovery by 20% over a straight heap leach. So those are cases that we'll take a look at in our upcoming PEA, and we'll use that PEA to scope out the parameters for taking this project to pre-feasibility. Now, our original PEA we completed in January 2022. These numbers are stale now, but what it did demonstrate was a high degree of sensitivity to gold price, some stellar returns on the capital invested. In this case, we invested $15 million with $16 million in sustaining capital over a short mine life of 6 years. Since then, we've added a lot of resource, and we do anticipate a 10-year type of mine life, 8 to 10 years, depending on our throughput. But we see the leverage to gold price, and that is driven by that very shallow, high-grade material in the starter pits on this project. And that is the unique aspect of Viva Gold. Now, on top of that, here's a picture of the site. There's nothing out here. We have no neighbors within 20 miles. And we've got paved state highway access to the site. Tonopah Public Water Utility, that's the water utility for the town of Tonopah. Their water pipeline actually crosses parts of our claims, and they've got substantial excess water rights, so we can buy commercial water supply. There's a 15 kilovolt Nevada Energy power line that follows that pipeline. So we have grid tap-in access. And back in 2003, Newmont had completed environmental assessment and cultural resource studies on this project. From that, they permitted a plan of operation for exploration. Now, what we've been doing to leverage on that work since then is we've had our meetings, pre-development meetings with the Bureau of Land Management. We've completed biologic studies, water sampling for over 4 years, seep and spring studies, geochemical studies, updating cultural resource, and hydrologic pump tests. So we've completed a substantial portion of the required baseline study works to really accelerate the permitting process here. Now, what we're doing, projected timelines, we just completed a 14-hole program in January last month. We're currently in the process of updating our geologic models and resources. We've been doing, throughout this project, metallurgical study. We plan to do additional, continue on with our baseline studies. and complete a PEA. We're targeting the end of the first quarter of 2025 in a couple months, and we'll use the PEA to scope out the parameters for a pre-feasibility study later in this year. So that's really the story. Now, the investment thesis, our Tonopah project checks all of the boxes for a successful mine development opportunity. Our project has been on de-risking the project, expanding the gold resource, demonstrating exploration upside potential, completing pre-feasibility study, and development permitting. That's our focus. So the goal here is to create a re-rating of Viva shares with the demonstration of Tonopah Gold Project as a mine development opportunity with strong economic and growth potential. So really that's the Viva Gold story. We're ready to take questions. Graham, do you have questions for me?
Hi, Jim, I do. Hi, everyone. Graham Farrell, Investor Relations for Viva Gold. Jim, I do have a few questions. I'm going to try and do my best to get through them all, and I'm going to keep names anonymous as I was instructed. We have two questions on M&A, and I'm just going to merge the two questions so we can get through them. So the questions are, with gold hitting higher highs, what is your expectation for M&A activity? And are you seeing interest from major gold companies in Nevada?
Okay, as a CEO, you know, we constantly field questions from other companies, inquiries, and that pace has definitely picked up. What you're seeing is a lot of majors, not just majors, but mid-tier and even junior producers. If you're producing right now, you're creating a lot of cash. And a lot of those companies want to put that cash to work. So that is an active endeavor that I, continue to do as part of my job as CEO in this company.
Great. Thank you, Jim. We have a question. I'll just read it. Thank you, Jim. You mentioned a new PEA will be coming soon. Given the drilling that the company has done and the gold price appreciation, what do you think the impact these items will have on the economics and the resource of the project?
Yeah, it's we're trying to determine that right now. That work is well underway. But we've had a lot of shallow, high-grade intercepts over the last few years. We've expanded high-grade, shallow zones. So the first impact that I could see is that the starter pits zones are probably larger than they were in the past. That means more higher grade up front. And that's always very positive in the mine plan when you can move grade earlier in the mine design. That typically accelerates payback potential on the project, which makes ultimate financing easier for the developer. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is that we've done it both infill and step out drilling. The infill drilling should help to convert inferred to measured and indicated. And keep in mind, in the pre-feasibility or feasibility study, only measured and indicated resource becomes proven and probable reserve. In those studies, you're not allowed to use inferred mineralization like you are in the PEA. So that's should be one improvement. And then we've also been doing step-out drilling, which I believe should help to increase the size of the overall resource. Magnitudes, I can't speak about at this point in time, but that is a work in progress.
Thank you, Jim. We have a question which I'm going to expand on a little bit because I don't think we can directly answer it. The question is, do you think your stock VAUCF is going to go up? But why don't we take this opportunity, Jim, to kind of expand on what happens in Nevada when projects get permitted?
Yeah, I mean, one of our earlier slides in this presentation, I presented some comps of what permitted projects are selling for. Right now, Viva is trading at roughly $15 to $20 per ounce of resource. A permitted project, the comps are demonstrating, trades between $100 and $170 per ounce of resource. So you have a potential there for a 5 to 10 time multiple, and that's really our goal, and that's the principle that we're working on. It's the second, to put it into different terms, it's the second half of the Lassonde curve that we're targeting, not the first half. It's the larger hump that comes with de-risking a project and gaining permits. So that's been our goal for Tonopah, is moving past the wait and see period that you get after discovery, and moving this into a fully de-risk status of mine design, permits, feasibility. But that's the best way I can answer that question.
Perfect. Thank you, Jim. We've got 3.5 minutes left. 2 more questions. How difficult is it to permit a mine in Nevada?
Okay, we're dealing with very experienced, highly experienced regulators. They're some of the most experienced in the world as far as mine permitting goes. So you're not spending a lot of time educating your regulators. They're, compared to other locations I've worked in, they're a joy to work with. Their standards are rigorous. You've got to do your homework. And I believe that we've been doing that homework throughout the life of this deposit, and that is paying attention to creating the basis for permitting, the underpinning baseline studies. We're over 4 years in our water testing program. That's on top of the work that was done by Midway and Newmont earlier. We've been working with the town of Tonopah water system, because they've got a lot of baseline water measurements in this valley. We've been doing our wildlife studies, et cetera. So all the way through, we had our pre-needs meeting with the BLM. That accelerates the process. And we've got a form, it's called the Baseline Needs Assessment Form. It's a checklist of 36 different required baseline studies. We've met with the staff. A lot of those studies are not required or substantially complete. And so we've been checking the boxes as we move along and submitting that work for review to the BLM. So all of these steps have helped to accelerate the process of moving into permitting, and that helps to guarantee your success in that process. Bottom line is we've done our homework.
Excellent. Thank you, Jim. And we're running out of time. We're only going to get to one more question. How much time will you spend prospecting for new properties to acquire, and have you looked at any AI tools to help the team with this?
Number one, on looking at other properties in the district, we do that as a routine process. And we've been doing that since the day I floated Viva out. So we've got a large database on local projects. We know where they are. We know what the characteristics are. And as we get the funding, or as we move this project into a cash flowing potential, We do have the ability now to step in, pick up assets as they become available, and move forward on those. In terms of AI, the mining industry has always used a form of AI. Our softwares have been steadily improving. I started in this business on mainframe programming, and it's become more and more intuitive over time. So we continuously use those new tools as they come available, and we can use them efficiently.
Perfect. Thank you, Jim. That's all the time we have for questions. We appreciate everyone's interest.